Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be dialing from around the world. Thank you all for joining and spending time with us for today's webinar, Prove Pre-Fill, How Leading Firms Accelerated Onboarding Times by Up to 79%, presented by IT Novarica Group. I'm Caitlin Labby, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. We'll be starting the webinar shortly, but first, let me just cover a few quick housekeeping items. We will be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit your questions using the questions feature located in the GoToWebinar toolbar to the right of your screen. Also, today's webinar will be recorded, and a link to view the recording on demand will be available after the session. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Shirley Insco is a strategic advisor on IT Novarica Group's fraud and AML practice, covering fraud and data security issues. Shirley brings to IT Novarica Group 30 years of banking experience in enterprise fraud and payments issues. She has served as the chair of the BITS Fraud Reduction Steering Committee and the co-chair of Early Warning Services Advisory Committee, and has been a member of ABA's Deposit Account Fraud and Payment Systems Committees. Shirley has spoken at many conferences on topics related to payments and fraud prevention, and has co-authored a book on internal fraud entitled Insidious: How Trusted Employees Steal Millions and Why It's So Hard for Banks to Stop them. Roger Desai is co-founder and CEO of Prove. Roger is a mobile and digital identity expert who has been quoted by publications such as the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, CNBC, Time, and the MIT Technology Review. After beginning his career in engineering management positions at ExxonMobil and GE, Roger served as an executive at Accenture's telecom practice before becoming CEO of Rave Wireless, a mobile homeland security notification platform deployed at over 8,000 universities, colleges, cities, and emergency management organizations. Roger is passionate about how technology can solve human and societal issues. In addition to his work at Rave Wireless, his business ventures have ranged from using mobile phones for microfinance village programs in emerging markets to enabling financial inclusion by leveraging Prove's mobile identity technology to allow underbanked and credit-invisible consumers to access financial services. Roger graduated from RPI and attended Harvard Business School. I'll turn the mic over now to Roger to dive into today's content and talk a bit about Prove Pre-Fill. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy today's webinar. Roger, over to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. So thank you everyone for joining this exciting topic. We know that all the major changes that have taken place due to COVID have driven more and more consumers to digital channels. And one of the biggest problems that we all experience as consumers is just the friction it takes to get simple things done. So we really tried to address a problem that has always been a trade-off, that you could have things that were simple to use, but then they weren't very secure. And now with the added role of privacy, there's even more to kind of balance. And we never kind of believe that there has to be a trade-off between security, ease of use, and privacy. And that's what we really showcase with Prove Pre-Fill, which we'll talk about today. So Prove, like our name suggests, we're really in the business of helping consumers easily identify who they are, so that counterparties like banks and merchants can reduce the friction it kind of takes to do business with them in digital channels. And we think that this kind of role of identifying folks securely, easily, privately, with consumer choice helps every part of the digital journey. So at Prove, we help companies acquire more customers, better engage with existing customers, and doing those things while thwarting, the attackers, the fraudsters, because that's obviously doing that right is what you can do to kind of yield the benefits of having a great experience for customers and growing revenue